Okay, here we have an update to the brake rotor forge. I already lit a little kindling fire and I buried it with some coal. I did actually try another YouTube video that I saw that I plagiarized making some of my own coal. I do have a bag, but I just wanted to see if it worked. So yesterday, probably took about 2 hours or so, I cut up a bunch of some hardwood. I actually had some more of this stuff. It was some chestnut or hickory actually, and I did the old paint can trick where you pop the lids off the paint cans, cut up some really small pieces of hardwood, filled it in there, packed it relatively tightly, and then pop the hole in the top about a ½ inch. I just used a punch and built a decent sized fire and put it in there, and next thing that came out, once it was all finished, probably took 2.5 hours or so to get some charcoal. So these are the actual pieces that came out. Not too bad. So we'll see how it works. Got a little fire going there now. The other thing I did is I actually modified this blow dryer. I went inside it. First I took a computer power supply right there. I took it from an old laptop and plugged in, converted it so I actually took out the power supply port so it could plug into the little banana connector there. And then I went inside the internals of the blow dryer and I took out the heating element because this was heating up so much that it was actually getting hot here. It melted the lettering off the side of the blow dryer. So I figured I'd try taking it out. So now it's actually running off a DC. I took the little transformer or whatever you call it out of the wall wart and run it directly with a computer supply. So I know I've had a comment in the past that as soon as I hit this blow dryer you can't hear the audio anymore, so I am going to crack it on to show you what goes on with the fire itself. And then you can see I got a few little miscellaneous pieces of steel here. Got a horseshoe, a little piece of rod, railroad spike, some piece of square tubing that I'm going to smash on the anvil. See what happens with it. But so as soon as the dryer goes on, I know you're not going to be able to hear anything. I will update in the future with some better audio, but just so you can see what happens. So it heats up pretty nice. I'm going to pack that up and see if I can bend some steel later. Okay, and an update. That pile of charcoal lasted, I'm going to say, 20 minutes or so. So the fire's still smoldering now. I took one more piece out of, this came out of the campfire. I just tossed that on there to keep it going. So that was the charcoal that I made out of those paint cans, that was about 4 1 gallon paint cans that burned in maybe 30 minutes or so. I do have a bag of the Home Depot style charcoal, just lump charcoal that I got right out of Home Depot. I'm going to try that next to see what type of burn time I get out of that. The moral of the story for me is that I'm going to go with coal. It's about $6 for a 40-pound bag here, so I should get almost a day out of that because this burns really fast. However, the good news is that it works great. I get plenty of heat I just chuck some stuff in the fireplace. I'll show you. Ben's a horseshoe. Heated this horseshoe in probably less than a minute. I'm a liar. Maybe a minute. So that heated up very quickly. Pretty pleased with that. And then there was just a couple other silly things I was working on. This is a piece of tubing that I just flared the end on it. That literally heated in less than a minute. I'd say each section of the horseshoe probably took a minute or so to heat and beat. And I was just texturing, so I was just messing around with some texturing on this to see how it works. One thing I did find out on the end of this is how quickly it does burn. I turned around, I don't know if you can see that very well. I picked this up, it's probably still boiling hot. I ended up, let me see. I actually left this in the fire for, I don't know, 30-40 seconds, and it just completely melted the tip. But I was just messing around a little texturing. Next guy up is this railroad spike. I'm going to throw that in there. Ooh. I had it next to the fire and it's still hot. That's actually rust, it's not red. But I had it actually sitting up next to this, and it heated up just from goodness. So this thing gets really hot. I'm really pretty pleased so far. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw some of this lump charcoal in there. This is interesting looking stuff. I'll chop that up a little bit and light it back up, and I will put that into, first I'll quench it so we can see how long it actually takes to get that glowing red in real time. So let me just hack this stuff up and I will be right back. Okay, load it back up with that lump charcoal. Definitely bigger than the pieces that I had made. It looks like they even had the bark still on it when it was made, so not sure how this stuff is going to work. There's still a little bit of heat coming off of this, so I know as soon as I turn this fan on or the dryer on, you can't hear me, but just to see how quickly this thing relights. And then I went and I quenched this railroad spike. So what I'll do is I'll get the fire going back again, see how long it takes to heat up, and then throw that in there and see how long that takes to turn red. So let's see. Pretty quick. Okay, I'm going to let that go. Once she heats up, I'll throw the lump charcoal in there, and then I'll throw the lump charcoal in there. And then I'll throw the lump charcoal in there. And then I'll throw the lump charcoal in there. And then I'll throw the lump charcoal in there. And then I'll throw the lump charcoal in there. And then I'll throw the lump charcoal in there. And then I'll throw the lump charcoal in there. And then I'll throw the lump charcoal in there. And then I'll throw the lump charcoal in there. And then I'll throw the lump charcoal in there. And then I'll throw the lump charcoal in there. And then I'll throw the lump charcoal in there. And then I'll throw the lump charcoal in there. And then I'll throw the lump charcoal in there. And then I'll throw the lump charcoal in there. And then I'll throw the lump charcoal in there. And then I'll throw the lump charcoal in there. And then I'll throw the lump charcoal in there. And then I'll throw the lump charcoal in there. And then I'll throw the lump charcoal in there. And then I'll throw the lump char turn back on and send that spike in there. Okay, looks like she's going alright. So I'm gonna take that spike, stick it in there, and see how long it takes for that to heat up. Maybe not. One thing I did notice with this charcoal is that it absolutely sparks much more than the stuff that I was just using that I made. And of course now I can't get this off. Yes, I agree. Poor fire management. Again, this is the second time I did this. Thus far, 0 beers and 1 good profanity that I was bright enough to grab the wrong end of this after I had turned my back and come back, and it's hot. So I'll try and fast forward this one out and let it just sit through and see how long this actually takes to bring it in. And there we go. Let me beat this for a minute. It looks like it's red. Let's see if it's workable. Yep, that worked. I was able to smack it and draw it out a little bit. So, just the moral of the story is forge is working as it should, as hoped. It definitely is a fuel hog though with this charcoal. But it works. So I'm going to say that's it for today. I'm just going to keep burning and beating some stuff up until the rain stops. So, thanks for watching. Okay, after all is said and done, this is what I ended up with. I know it's a first attempt, pretty nasty, but it was kind of fun. And one thing I did learn very quickly is that that forge gets so hot so quick. I turned my back for a second and literally, you know, this looked much better. It was more symmetrical, believe it or not. But I turned my back for literally 30 seconds. I went to walk to put something away, and the tip on both of these sides just melted. It turned into a gigantic blob, and so I had to take it out, put it back in, actually take it out, smack it, beat it back into shape. But it's kind of fun. So this was a horseshoe, if you can't tell. And this is by no way, in no way, shape, or form to demonstrate any type of skill. Really, it should show my lack thereof. It's just a matter of showing you that for barely any money, that forge is going. It works. And I would say I burned that whole bag of charcoal and the charcoal that I had made probably within less than 2 hours, and it's gone. So coal for me is definitely going to be the way to go. But thanks for tuning in, and I will update shortly.